this season around the Tampa Bay area. Eric Murda is one of those who lived to tell his story.
Do not feed the gators, all right? You guys know who you are, throwing rocks at them and stuff. I've seen that on the job sites. Leave them gators alone.
That's the guy. That's the guy you're going to listen to. I can't believe Britney Spears is marrying him.
A million gators are estimated to be swimming in Florida waters right now. There are a ton of them, and state wildlife officials say they're especially aggressive right now. It is gator camp.
And when it snapped my arm backwards, my very first thought was, there goes that arm.
It took,
excuse me,
life already cut Eric deep. Struggles with family and addiction were among his challenges.
I just didn't want to deal with the pain of existence anymore.
Some challenges he's still overcoming. Eric is currently homeless, but through loss,
he took my arm instead of my life.
He also found reason to live.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's about 10:30 in the morning. I'm in Warm Mineral Springs, July 17, 2024. Been exactly 2 years. At this point in time, shoot, I was already at the fish camp, I believe. Probably picking up trash at this moment. 2 years ago, I lost my arm. 2 years ago, I lost my family. 2 years ago, I lost my business. 2 years ago, some things, beings, tried to take my faith. I never lost it. 2 years ago, some things tried to take my hope. I didn't lose it yet. Not until my soul was crushed by the family. Well, because of the family, not by the family. I had to change that, get the notification. Uncontrollable demonic dimensional depression. See, that's the footprint of the dragon behind me. He tried to kick me in the head and I ducked. That was the egg that came through, and she's the one who brought it through. Picture it. Sicily. Look through my divine eye. Where is thine? 1962. No, I'm just playing. So, it's just before 9 o'clock at night, July 17th, 2022. 2 years after the accident. When you catch the lightning strike just right. Woo! I hope I caught that. It wasn't doing any of that night. Yeah, my camera kind of sucks. But imagine being stuck in the water. At this point, I was already out in the water. Starting to get worried I wasn't going to make it across before it got completely dark. Obviously, I didn't make it. Quite possibly staring up at the sky, floating on my back. I'd only been out in that water about an hour, but I probably started conserving energy by now. Quite possibly starting to shed my shoes and my pants, my work, and my identity. 2 years ago at this time. That's probably about what I was going through. I was probably getting naked in the water right now. So I wouldn't drown. In case Florida Fish and Wildlife wants to ask me just one more time. I know, they all have their ways of investigating. But how many different times you gonna ask me why I was naked? You see the light? God bless. That angel in my heart, demon in my shit. Don't love most, love all of it. It is as is. We are one. We strive for beings whom have good in thine heart. Definition of thine is mirror image of mine. Heart's a heart. God bless your soul. Amen. Alright, so it's July 17th, 2024. I just did a little video outside of the sky. It's thundering a little bit, and lightning. Lightning more than it is thunder. That's for sure. Just talking about this time 2 years ago. What you see, they see through too. Who do you see? I was in the water. I had probably already dove down to see how deep it was. Felt that cold ass water. Came back up and decided, oh shit. With me trying to get out of there and wanting back to my van so bad, and being so thirsty looking at that water like I was in love with it. Alligators didn't cross my mind until I was already in pretty deep. And then, like I said, I tried to touch the bottom, but as soon as that water got cold, I realized how deep it really was. I was probably debating on whether I should turn around and try to go back or forward, or like how I was stuck in the middle of a lake in Mayaca City, Florida. As a Florida boy, I should have damn sure known better. Listen, you see these tough guys and these guys who are smart enough that have grown up around alligators and stuff. Not all us Florida boys know how to jump on the back of an alligator and stab him in the head from behind. Okay, not everybody does shit like that down here. When it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm definitely a city slicker. I still don't know enough about alligators. I should have picked some trash up today. Sure, for honor, for respect, for myself. Should be like a national, not national, but a personal trash pickup day. I do it every once in a while. I shove dollar bills in the garbage and leave it behind for other people to find the money, so that maybe it influences and inspires them. I haven't done that in a while. I don't walk around so much anymore. Weird. I'm like actually standing in the light right now. But anyway, this is the time of night that I would have been probably floating on my back, getting ready to get attacked. 2 years ago, pretty close to the minute. So I was looking up, and there were 3 stars triangulated. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I was like, man, that looks a lot like an alligator. Sure enough, I turned off to my side, and there it was, about 1.5 feet away. I-M-E-Y-E, reptile inside. Tried to freestyle swim away. Grabbed my forearm. I rolled over on top of it. Well, not on top of it. I rolled over to the side and grabbed it the best I could, barely being able to reach around the gator. And it snapped my arm like a dog's head would, like with a chew toy when it got too excited. It snapped it backwards. As we were fighting and thrashing around, all I could see was underwater and on top again, back and forth, up and down, until finally the gator faded away. Morning, y'all. July 18th, 2024. Picture like 2 years ago on this date. about 11:20 in the morning, about 12 hours after the attack or so. A little bit. It's 11:35. I had to stop real quick. Center Stone. They're, I don't want to explain them wrong, so the best thing I could say, they're there for my mental health, which is what I think they do overall. Give me prescriptions and stuff like that. Gabapentin and Risperdal, so grab a pen then. Yeah, that's where it comes from. The gabapentin. Anyway, they wanted to drug test me and make sure everything's on point. I almost said 20 years ago. So it's been 2 years. By this point, I was making my way back down to the water. Believe it or not. I tried to go a different way and I was being a pussy about it. I really was. I was missing my arm from my elbow down. And the stick already went into the open wound, the flesh, whatnot. My arm's rotting underneath some logs somewhere to soften up so the gator can come back and eat it later. I don't know. I always thought they just swallowed that bitch. Watch Komodo dragon swallow a fucking goat. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. I tried to stay on land and find my way back to that orange field because at least it was wide open. Again, I was being a pussy about it. Because I got that poke and I couldn't get through the brush. So I thought it wasn't easy getting down to the water either. And once at the water, you gotta understand there was other beings with me, helping guide. Believe it or not. A man's intuition can kick in and be extremely strong. You all of a sudden know things that nobody's ever taught you. It's just all built in the brain for survival somewhere then. Or paranormal activity. Demons not wanting to lose their plaything. Or not wanting to take the rap part of this. Death. Wasn't my time to die. On any fucking side. And nobody wanted it. I did right at first. I'm laying there with no arm. The Lord made me throw my work boots to the bottom of the lake. Along with my pants that had my identity in it. Government issued identification card. In symbolization of my identity needed to be changed. I needed a new ID. And the work boots, I almost drowned over those son of bitches. Because I knew that symbolized my work was done. The way I knew it. I wouldn't be digging no more. And Bonita Springs a few months earlier came to me and said, if you don't stop, we're going to clip the Golden Eagle's wing. Well, check me out from 2011. Not the first time I've been around the spirits. I thought it was the coolest fucking rap I ever heard. That's some cold-blooded shit. Damn, dog. Yeah, like the guy on Scary Movie. When he rapping and slices everybody up, and I think it was Smokey or Shorty. Was like, that's the illest shit ever. Yeah, it's pretty much like that. Pretty much like that. I thought it was cool. They was being serious. Try to call it a coincidence since then. You caught that bitch like 2 or 3 months ahead of time. Hanging out down there with the wrong one. Hanging out too. She's busy on her phone talking to her boyfriend or whatever. I don't want to get deep into my personal life. Trust me, you'll hear enough of that. So I get down to the water. And the Lord told me, stay as close to the shoulder as you can. Stay on the side and you'll be alright. As I walk beside of that lake, grabbing on the branches that are breaking, and it's like standing on a ledge. A mucky, slippery ledge with one arm. Trying to keep this one up out of the water. I don't remember exactly, but it took well past half of this day before I was just like, it's gonna get wet, and I'm trying to wash it off in the water and stuff too. I spent a lot of time in that water on this day. A lot of time. I may not have been quite in the water yet at this point. No less than waist deep at all times. Gator popped up a couple of times as I was going through. The night before, after losing my arm, I was already so freaked out that I was afraid the gator was going to follow me through the brush and was stalking me and stuff. Like shit that you can tell an alligator never went through, otherwise it would be all pushed down or something, I would think. Which is a large part of the story throughout the whole 3-day excursion. While I'm here, I made one thing clear. I didn't die in the swamp. I may have been reborn, but I didn't die. I got baptized by the gator. Mother Earth herself. She didn't spat me out. She spazzed me the fuck out. Allow some inner demons to get loose. There's some things that were around. Come in and charge. Up a bill that, I gotta pay. Some all paid up. Anyway, it's just getting stupid at this point. I'm listening to too much crap. Most of those were nigh thoughts. This word that comes, not real sure what that means, but not on point. Not on point at all. Meant nothing really. The nigh thoughts maybe. God bless. And remember, you woke up today with the smallest gift. And that's your breath. I started through some grasses that were taller than I was, and I found the lake.
Like looking down the table.
Where my truck was. So, with me being thirsty and cut from head to toe, not wanting to go back through all of the thorns, I decided
They told me to be careful. So I said, no problem, I watch myself.
And it became dark.
God bless y'all.
It was an alligator.
Taking a break from the project for this.
So July 17th, 2024. Back on the corner. Haven't been out in a few days. I was blessed, and the less I'm out here, the less I got to worry about getting in trouble for using my freedom of speech. It's been 2 years since I lost my arm. Still trying to use it to reach out. I know it's not always positive, that's for damn sure. I try to stay positive. I see a lot of shit positive. But the message negatively coming out is how I'm trying to change laws and the ways of people thinking about certain things. And we're all free to our own opinions. I should be free to fly a sign with my opinions on it. Or if I need to, asking for work or money or whatever. One thing you gotta always realize, you're always on camera. Whether you believe it or not, or want to be or not, shoot, always on camera. This is the biggest camera of the night. There's a cameraman behind that. But imagine, it's about 10:30 at night. I can't see nothing with this camera. I can see more without it than I can with it, that's for sure. About 10:30 at night, and you're stuck out in the woods. Dark woods. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this inside. Alright, so that's a little bit better. At least you can see something, you know. So it's about 10:30 at night. I'm in the swamp, right? I think by now I had maybe tried to go back to sleep after getting off of the concrete thing. I was still waist deep in water at this point, no doubt, because that carried on through to the next day even. So there's giant grasses. I'm waist deep in water, but I'm not in the lake. I'm like in the woods in a lake, if that makes any sense. Like it was lake water, but probably just stuff that ran over. I guess I wasn't really in the woods because there weren't trees, there were giant grasses that I couldn't see over. But I felt like there wasn't always supposed to be water there. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was leading into a river or something. Scary as hell. Couldn't find my way out. Tried to lean back on some of the grasses like this. Take a 5-minute nap there, a 10-minute nap there. I mean, I'm waist deep in water with one arm. So, that's about where I was at this point. It's about 2:40 in the afternoon or so, July 19th, 2024. 2 years ago, at this time, I imagine I was actually on solid ground, out of the water, struggling to get through, in, around, whatever I could do to keep pushing through the woods themselves. At this point, probably not finding any water at all to drink. When I was, it was probably like a sloshy, swampy kind of thing. More mud than water. Pretty gross. A lot of thorns, a lot of sticks, a lot of obstacles. At one point in time, literally laying on my back and dragging myself across the ground with my left hand. Not for very far, but certainly tried every which way to get out of there. Alright, July 20th, 2024, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Just to annoy you. I was probably finding a beer bottle right now. Pretty close to it. Gave me my one last push to get the heck up on out of there. And yes, I'd say at least an hour after I found that beer bottle. So if that tells you how slow I was moving. Just crawling up the trail, you know. Not flying through the nest. Like I said, that last day, I didn't make it very far. I said 100 yards earlier, probably more like 100 feet. Whatever I said in the beginning, man, was more on point than what I'm trying to say now. Should probably go back and watch some of my videos, read some of my old articles, refresh. But, yeah, so I found that beer bottle on my way out. That's how I knew I must be pretty damn close to a fence. There ain't no way in hell somebody was crawling back through them woods. not as thick as this shit was. I mean, the beer bottle could have been there forever, too. Who knows? But my thought was somebody threw that over the fence. Yeah, it took me at least another hour to get out of them woods after finding that. I believe it was around 4:35 when I got picked up. It was a Wednesday. Dude was hanging out after work, unwinding. He said, "What the heck you doing back there?" And I was like, "Bro, a gator got my arm." He, right at first, I probably wasn't in clear line of sight of him. I was buck naked, missing an arm. He's like, "Oh my God, can I get you anything?" I was like, "Water, man, clean water." He got me 2 waters. And I could have probably made it to the other side of that fence, but I was like, the hell with that. I just laid down and let them come get me, man. That helicopter seemed like it was there in like 5 minutes. And it very well may have been. It was quick. It was quick. Once the copter got there, they were like, "Where you want to get flown to?" It's Sarasota Memorial. That was a whole nother story. I'm getting ready to lay down for a nap. So, hopefully I'm awake to tell that story around the same time. But, like I said, I think it's 3 o'clock or something. If not, we'll continue on. You know, from the bird's eye view. Slithering snake, shiver and shake. It's a slithering snake. God bless. July 20th, 2024. In July 2022, my little adventure was finally over. I may have even been out of surgery by now. I know they did it right away. So when they opened up that fence, I consider it kind of like a rebirth back into the world. My whole life had changed. Didn't have any clue what was in store for me, really. I was just happy to be getting on that helicopter, the vibrations from it, and knowing I was saved. I imagine my adrenaline level dropped down, because I'll tell you, the worst pain I had the whole time was in that helicopter. They were giving me IV injections of fentanyl. That wasn't touching me. I was just screaming like the whole helicopter ride. freaked one of the guys out to where he actually even yelled at me, to no fault. I've been pretty vocal about that in the past as well. It was an intense situation, and we're in a small helicopter with me screaming at the top of my lungs. I talk pretty loud to begin with most times, let alone screaming in agony. And the poor guy, he couldn't handle it. I'm sure he's seen more gruesome stuff than that, but being stuck in that helicopter with me screaming, I always think of the shark bite in the movie The Beach, where they put that man back out on the beach because the community could no longer hear him scream in agony. It was easier for them to leave him alone and walk away. Luckily, mine was a short helicopter ride, and they knocked me out when I got to the hospital. And I woke up another half an arm shorter. After that, I spent 3.5 weeks in the hospital, and quite frankly, was scared to death to leave the hospital. They tried to get rid of me after about, I don't know, like 3 or 4 days, and I was like, are you freaking serious? I ended up spending 3.5 weeks. So, you know, give me a sec, Nick, I'm recording, I'm just finishing up. I did a lot of walking around the halls and stuff. That probably wasn't until the second week or so. Hospital staff was great. Hospital staff was great. I seemed to get along with pretty much everybody. You always got a little bit of push and pull. I always say I put Sarasota Memorial out of business from eating. You know, after 3 days of drinking water and mud, it was like a wild boar. Being corn-fed to clean it out, but stuck in a small hospital room, you just see the fumes rising. It's pretty nasty. My ex-wife, with my kid, came, I believe, like the very next day. My visitors were like, "Holy crap!" You know. I was in the paper, but I wasn't giving statements. But my name was there, so people started finding out. I don't even think I had phone numbers to make phone calls, to be honest with you. I got a hold of somebody somehow. You know, 5 short days later, my ex of 15 years, she showed up. I got to eat some gator bites before I left there. My buddy Jay brought some gator bites in there, novelty kind of thing. He worked at a seafood restaurant, and I told him, bring me some gator bites. Not because I hate gators, guys, so I don't need all of the environmentalists attacking me that I'm going out there killing gators and stuff. I went through that with a couple of people, too. Thought that I hated wildlife. There was some birds that got fed on a video that I was in, some bread. And apparently these birds aren't supposed to be fed bread. And I made a comment about them being the snobs of the road because they cross the road very slowly in an orderly fashion. They know you gotta wait for them. I say you should run them over, and I was just kidding. That lit up a fire underneath some local environmentalists. I guess they probably thought I was purposely trying to kill them with bread. So there's some crazy stuff, but at the end of the day, man, I was in the middle of a lake in Mayaca City. How the hell can I be mad at that alligator? So after 3 days of being out there, another 2 or 3 days, Florida Fish and Wildlife got a 6-footer and a 10-footer out of there. They didn't find any human parts in either one of them. And then a grueling investigation to the point where I ended up having to kick him out of my room. The only thing he was concerned with was when my clothes came off. I'm not sure if he thought we stick pinkies in them or what we do. Maybe where he comes from, they do that kind of stuff. But like I said, I'm a city slicker, man. We don't go around fingering alligators. Anyway, it's really not funny because I'm sure that bullshit does happen. I don't know. God bless. Y'all be safe out there. And if you're gonna muddy up the waters, don't play in God's paint too much. Love y'all.
At least a half dozen gator attacks this season around the Tampa Bay area. Eric Murda is one of those who lived to tell his story.
Do not feed the gators, all right? You guys know who you are, throwing rocks at them and stuff. I've seen it on the job sites. Leave them gators alone.
Oh, wow. That's the guy you're going to listen to. I can't believe Britney Spears is marrying him.